Welcome back, everybody, to our podcast, Legacy of Lies. I'm one of your hosts, Gabe.
And I am Pat.
And we're happy to be back with you. It's been kind of a long absence. We did not plan on going as long as we did without making an episode. But we're here back today. We had some stuff going on, work, outside stuff. So we're hoping to get back on track and start doing one or two a week again. But today, our topic is going to be time travel. It was actually a suggestion from one of our family members and a fan. So we want to cover it from a broad perspective. We don't want to go in too deep on any one thing because it's such a broad and, nobody knows kind of topic. There's tons of different theories. So we want to cover it as wide as possible and hopefully get like a good depth of conversation in from different viewpoints. So I do want to ask you, Pat, before we go in, what do you know about time travel? And then is there a theory that you subscribe to more than other ones?
Yeah, technically I don't know anything about time travel, but
right.
Like anybody else, my experience with it would be listening to people claim to be time travelers. That's kind of a big thing, especially at the beginning of 2026. There are a couple of people who have gone viral over their time travel claims. But obviously, if you could go back to, the movie Back to the Future, time travel has been like a cultural, I wouldn't say phenomenon, but people are completely drawn to it. And I think it's, I think somewhere in your brain, it's because of guilt, if that makes sense. People
wishing they could change the past.
Yeah, if I could go back, or if I could get the lottery numbers or something like that. But,
well, isn't that what everybody would do? Is go back and pick or invest $100 in Google in 1997 and be a billionaire.
But I fully think it's possible. I doubt some dude posting on TikTok is an actual time traveler.
Right.
But I don't know if I were a gambling man, I would say there is some sort of either a technology or a state of consciousness that allows people to travel through time.
Right. And I think where a lot of people get hung up is the physics of it.
Mm-hmm.
And people are really, especially materialist reductionists and people in the last 50 years, that we've kind of lost the ability to have wonder in our lives. And, you see religion declining, you see, spiritualism's kind of making a comeback, but people, especially the mainstream people, the last century really have been essentially we know everything. Science can prove or disprove anything, and anything beyond that is BS.
It's funny because there's an episode of South Park, and it's actually about time travel because Cartman wants to get a Nintendo Wii or something like that.
Yeah.
But in the future, this is why these shows are all fucking. If anything, these shows prove time travel because you're like, how do they know this stuff? But it shows science being like their religion. And I look at how the world is today and I'm like, oh, we're not far off.
Isn't that where we are? I think we're there now.
Yeah.
Honestly.
You have people that, and that's just, to me, never been my thing. Obviously science is great, but I don't know. I think something, there's been obviously some big cultural shift.
Yeah.
For the majority of people who, make fun of people who believe in God.
Yep.
And it's like, if you can't prove it, it doesn't exist. I think I told you this story once, but not that I'm a smart guy or anything like that, but I think I'm pretty open-minded. I'm just type of person who thinks anything's possible.
Yeah.
And I was this is like 10 years ago. I was sitting at work and I was talking to a coworker, and I was working nights at the time, and it was a late night, 2 a.m. conversation. So shit goes crazy. Usually you're talking about really weird stuff, but
right.
Time travel came up, and he took such a hard line stance on it's never possible. I've looked it up. He told me, and we
I did
can't
my research.
Yeah, we can't create the energy. I'm like, what do you mean? You don't even
Yeah.
know what the energy is. It could
Yeah.
be the absence of energy. We just, you know what I mean? Like,
All of this is assuming that time is linear
Right.
also, which it just objectively isn't from what we know.
Yeah.
Like that, because there's the whole thing like, oh, you can only go forward in time, or people think that you can only go backwards in time is what it is from the moment whenever time travel was created to any point beyond. Well, you can travel between those 2 points, but anything before that, since there was no time travel, and it like people get into all these crazy like juxtapositions and catch 22s, and it's like we don't even know what the technology is to do it. We don't even have a good understanding of like the physics of the universe.
Right.
So like how can we make a value judgment on whether something is legit or something isn't impossible based on it? We have no clue.
Yeah.
And that's why I also try to have an open mind, because it's like you can't just rule it out. I mean, I'm not saying that it's for sure possible, but you can't just, blatantly rule it out.
So I guess the same question to you then. And obviously we just had this conversation, but
Yeah.
what's your stance? What do you feel like you know about it? And, what do you think the possibilities are?
Well, I have a pretty good understanding of the different theories, right?
Mhm.
Like again, like you can only travel between the 2 points from when time travel was created. That's a really popular one for people that are into the physics of it and trying to like, based on our knowledge of the universe, that's the one that makes the most sense for those people, right? And then you also have the aspect of like movies like Back to the Future, right, where you can
If
go
you can get 88 miles an hour.
or what is it, 1.21 gigawatts
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
But if like so you can only go back between those points, but then you have movies like that where like you can't go back to the past and change certain things because of the whole butterfly effect aspect, and it could like make yourself disappear and all that. And it's like basically a philosophy question. A lot of the stuff is like, do you think that this, like if you go back and change something in the past to where like your mom and dad didn't meet, that you wouldn't exist or whatever. So nobody knows any of that shit. That's all just people theorizing and guessing, right? My thought process lies along the lines of like, I don't think time works that way. I don't think time is linear. I don't think that like, I mean, really the only thing that exists is the present in my mind. Like obviously the past happened or whatever, but that was just a present moment at the time it happened. And I think it's more of like we're all existing, all past versions of us, all future versions of us. Currently, we're all existing in the same fabric of space and time. We're just experiencing it differently. Maybe it's a different wavelength, a different frequency, whatever you want to call it. So I don't even necessarily think time travel has to go backwards in time. I think it maybe is a more matter of just attuning the frequency of your environment to a space that is, to what happened before, right? Or to what that environment was like when you were experiencing it.
Yeah. Yes, I think we're probably have the same belief. Like, so if you, and a lot of it maybe depends on your belief system on whether this will make sense or not. But like, if you're sitting there right now and you closed your eyes and plugged your ears and cut off your senses from this human body, you still exist.
Right.
You're just not perceiving anything.
Yep.
Okay, so I don't know if I'll be able to verbalize what I'm thinking, but if you can generate the same feelings, the same thoughts, the same memories as before, that's already time travel.
Right.
Your spirit or whatever, your soul, you're experiencing that again.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, you can't go back and gamble, maybe.
Right.
But that's essentially kind of time travel if you're talking about like your essence,
Yeah. And that's where it gets weird too, because like how do you define time travel, right? Like, so you've had like premonitions before, or like I've had dreams where I dreamt something was going to happen and it happened like exactly like that, right? I mean, that's kind of time travel
Right.
too, right? I mean, in your dream you're experiencing something that hasn't happened yet, and then a week later that you have that experience in the exact same way you had it in your dream, the exact same environment, everything's exactly the same. How do you explain that without saying that something in your brain, your subconscious, maybe your amygdala, whatever, some portion of your brain already experienced that.
Right. And then you have deja vu if you
Which
throw
is
that
weird.
into the mix. And it's kind of the same idea, you know?
Right. And I think that's one that like everybody understands because everybody's had deja vu. And it's so weird. Or like or synchronicities, we talk about those, how there's just like some weird shit lines up between, you and like a friend, or like let's say like you've been thinking about a friend from high school for a long time, you haven't talked in 10 years,
Yeah.
and you guys call each other at the same time after 10 years, right?
Right.
Like that stuff happens all the time. Everybody has those stories. And
Yeah, I think it has the whole thing. And, you know, I know this isn't like, you know, driving a DeLorean back in time, but it, you know, it ties into it, that idea of time travel. Like, you're tuning yourself, like you say, you know,
Yeah.
like you're this, and I know it's kind of like everybody's talking about your frequency and elevation and blah blah blah, but in reality, like I'm saying that's real. Like, if you start thinking about, I guess, what it felt like to sit on a beach, you know, and you can imagine feeling that heat and the sand in your toes and all that stuff, all of a sudden your brain is like chemically, you know, putting chemicals throughout your body, and all of a sudden it's there again, you know? And so what's to say you can't have a dream, you know, and create those feelings, and then they come to fruition,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, or like basically like I mean you've read The Secret, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that. It's the same concept. Like you're willing something into existence or thinking something into existence. And on a smaller scale, I think a lot of people are familiar with that already. Like you're putting your intentionality in your mind onto a goal, right? Like say you want to buy your first car. You're 15, you're saving money, whatever. You're like, there's no logical way where you're like, I should not be able to save up like 15 grand. Like I don't work that much, whatever. But you set that as your goal. Things tend to line up for you.
Yeah.
Like it, and it's it's not even necessarily woo woo. You could just say it's like intentionality. Like when you want something, the universe just has a way of making it easier to
Yeah.
make that happen. But it could be, I mean, it could be that you focusing on that aligns your energy with that future, and that's the future you just end up at because that's where you're tuned.
Yep.
Versus because people don't think about time. People think about time in the way they experience time, which is linearly. People experience time for the most part linearly, at least from what our mammal brains can understand, right? Like yesterday was yesterday, it already happened, today is today, and then tomorrow hasn't happened yet. It's going to be coming, right?
Yeah.
But we're limited in what we understand about the universe from the tools that we were given, right?
Right.
From God or nature or whatever. We only have this vessel, this body right now that we can experience the world with, and that's how our physical body perceives time.
Right.
So it's totally understandable that people don't get it or don't even have any. They're not open to anything else because that most people don't think beyond that. But like, I always find that there's something about dreams, and when you dream, I mean, you're still using your brain, but it does seem like your consciousness and everything opens up way more in dreams. And we don't really understand much about dreams.
I know.
And a lot of this weird synchronicity stuff or this weird premonition stuff, it happens in dreams. It happens in your subconscious.
Yeah, I think there's something to that, like shutting off the physical part of it.
Yeah.
This isn't really time travel related, but I've had, you know, everybody has weird experiences in life where you're like, whoa, did I just will that?
Yeah.
I have one recently that stands out above anything I've ever experienced.
I don't know if I've heard the story yet.
Yeah, when I say it, I think you'll remember. I don't know if you know that, but anyways, your mom and I, we went over to the gas station in the corner there. And this is probably like 6 years ago now. But we go over there and, you know, whatever, I'm getting by Monster or whatever. And I walk by this table and there's all these gifts on it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's the only time I've ever felt like it. I'm like, I need to get my name down because I've already won that. And I didn't plan that. I wasn't trying to will it into existence. Like, before I was writing my name, I'm like, I already knew I won that fucking thing. And I'm not joking. Like,
That's
it
weird.
wasn't a feeling, like, or it wasn't me wishing it. I had that feeling. And
You're
so
like, I have to because I'm going to win. Like,
Yeah.
I will win.
I put my name down, whatever, and then forgot about it, and I got a phone call, and I'm like, oh, that's right. I knew I was going to win it. It was the strangest thing ever, though.
That is really weird.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no logical way to explain that.
There isn't.
Just
And
isn't.
yeah, I don't, but I've heard similar stories about people, and this is all that subconscious stuff. They, to be successful, it's like you put your frame of mind about, I'm going to have it. I already have it, and then forget about it.
Yeah, or I already have it, and I need to be thankful for it.
Yeah.
I hear that one a lot, the spiritualist people. But I have a similar story, actually, where, do you remember, it was several years ago, and I was at a work party with my wife for where she worked at the time. It was a different job than she has now, but, and it was like on a riverboat. And they did it, her company that she worked for at the time did it every year, and they always had tons of prizes, and you could bring your spouse. So her and I were there together, and I had such a weird feeling. They gave out tickets, and the way that the drawings worked is they'd give each person like 10 tickets, and you could write your name on them and put them in different drawing buckets, right? And I put all my tickets in. It was the grand prize. It was like one of those Yeti hopper coolers, and it was like a $400 cooler. And I had a very similar feeling, not probably to the same extent, but I was like, I like really think I'm going to win this prize.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and I had never gotten that feeling before. Most of the time I don't even put in for drawings because I never win. And I'm just like, whatever. And then it was the very last drawing that they did because they did it in reverse order, and I won. And I was just like, I've never won any main prizes before. Usually don't even participate, and it was just weird. It was just like a gut feeling, like you need to do that.
I don't want to one-up you, but I want a salt lamp.
A salt lamp's pretty sweet. Is that the one that you still have downstairs?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, salt lamp's pretty cool.
It's actually, I'm sure it was not cheap. It has like the wax melter on top, and it's a big thing of like pink salt. But...
Well, I've seen you guys use it before. They're really cool. I don't want to get way too wooey here, but do you think maybe it was because it's a salt lamp?
I have no idea.
It was like, I don't want to say talking to you because it's an object, but that's what they're for, right?
Yeah, I mean that, like, you might roll your eyes, or I don't want to get, that stuff doesn't seem crazy to me at all.
Yeah, well, the salt lamp thing is the reason that they exist is because of the energy. You know, it's like kind of like quartz, like it's supposed to store energy, transmit, whatever. Like, I almost wonder if it was like because of what the object was, you had already, future you or different reality you had already claimed the prize and had already put your energy into it.
Yeah.
So then when you ran
had to
across
come to
it,
me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really cool way to think about it. I mean, yeah, that's really cool. Now we just got to figure that on the Powerball.
Yeah. If we can somehow tie in Himalayan sea salt to the Powerball,
right?
It's hard to pin down anything on this topic other than to just remain open-minded.
Right.
I think.
There's a couple of people, and this is all relatively new for 2025, 2026. And I just wanted to cover a couple of these because these are ones that have gone viral, and I might be missing the big one.
I've got one that I don't even need to look at that I can talk about later too. That's an old one, and it's a good one.
Mike Tyson?
Well, that one is not what I was thinking of, but that one's good too.
Yeah. Well, so this guy, I'm just looking to see if he's TikTok or what he was. Anyway, his name is Elvis Thompson. So this guy started predicting tornadoes, all this other shit, aliens, all for like starting at 2025,
Did
2026.
He do the Joplin one? Was that guy?
I don't know.
I feel like that might have been that guy, but
I don't know. So when I looked all these up, obviously, there's no actual evidence.
Oh, right.
But these ones are the ones that at least stick in my memory, and they're the most appealing because they're cool. There's a guy right now currently making videos from the future, he says.
Yes, I have
you
seen
this
that guy. Yeah.
And
it's on TikTok or whatever.
Yeah. And the cool thing is, like, he's walking through the fucking White House, and it's like in shambles.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, I mean, I know there's AI and all that stuff, but it's still, I'm sure it's not true, right? It's, like some 23-year-old guy isn't the only surviving person on Earth, and
he's somehow still able to transmit on TikTok.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. But I think it is like almost like it draws people in, man. Like that, the idea of time travel really is a drawing thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, this one is not what I was originally thinking of, and I can't remember the name. It's the time traveling count. Do you remember this story?
I don't know.
What is the guy's name? I need to pull up it was. It's not the Count of Monte. I don't know why I'm thinking Count of Monte Cristo, but. No, it actually is. Yeah. So there's that one, and then there's the guy. You ever seen the photo of Lincoln at the Gettysburg Address?
Yeah.
And there's a guy, it's a boy actually, that's in the like background and wearing like modern clothing.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, that stuff is just crazy to me because
I
it's
know.
like what every other person, hundreds of people in that photo are all wearing perfectly period correct clothing, and then this one kid, it's like looks like he has like sneakers on, and
I remember he's wearing shades that look like he's probably from the 60s, like
Yeah.
1960s. Yeah.
yeah, and what just like how does that happen? Like what, and then like we're talking about the Mike Tyson one, same deal. There's a picture, I forget which Tyson fight it was, but it was a big Tyson
I got
fight.
it printed off here.
Yeah.
It was. Is there an order? I don't remember, actually. I thought I had it on here, which fight it was, but maybe I don't. Oh, wait a second. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, it's fine. But
What were you saying?
no, same concept. Like the guy in the picture looks like he's holding up an iPhone in the background of the Tyson fight. And there's people that do debunks on it, right? Where they're like, no, it was this specific Sansui camcorder model that I just launched, and this guy was testing it, and there was only like 3 available in the world, or whatever. And there's all kinds of those. But like, I mean, sure, that's a distinct possibility, I guess. But like, it fucking looks like an iPhone.
It does. So I got the photos printed off. So
I can definitely add those in too, so the
Yeah.
viewers can see.
So anyway, this, so that's the photo of the iPhone, air quotes.
Yeah, it looks like a
I mean,
camera bump with a flash and a flat panel.
And
I mean-
so what the internet has told me is there are, I think, 3 options of what it could have been. A Sharp model J-SH04. That was available at the time only in Japan. Or I think it's Logitech, but it's called a Dicam Model 1. And then there was the Dicam Model 1 had like 2 different, Series 1, Series 2.
Yeah.
So here they both are. The Daycam First Gen and Model 1.
Maybe.
So
Yeah. I mean, I could see it, I wouldn't rule it out.
So yeah, like the one on the left, I could say, okay, maybe that actually is it.
Yeah. But what about the bumps?
Yeah, I mean
the photo's not great.
Yeah, it's
either,
grainy.
so it's hard to say. I mean, it could be.
The other option is, in my mind, it's like, why'd they even fucking mention that one? It looks nothing like it.
No.
I mean,
Yeah,
this is
it's
like
not
something that my mom carried in her purse,
Yeah, no.
That's the Casio.
What is the size? So that first one you showed, does it have dimensions? Would it even be remotely close to like what a handheld iPhone would be? Because you do have some.
It's bigger and bulkier, apparently, they say.
Because you do have some level of scale in that photo, and it looks about the size of like a modern iPhone, right? That's the.
Yeah. I mean, gosh, what was this? 95.
Cell phones in '95 were large.
I was gonna say I could look at my phone, but that's what we're recording on right now.
Yeah, right. No, I actually pulled up. So the other story that I had been thinking of was the Count of Monte Cristo, the movie. It was based on it was the Count of Saint Germain. Have you heard this?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's the one that I was thinking of, and this is the dude who they basically have like 2 different theories of what it is. Some people think he was a time traveler, or he's like a vampire / ascended like Zen master who like never aged.
That book I was telling you about.
Yes.
That's they talk about like I don't know if they compare him to, but like they talk about him as like an ascended master, like they would Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. And that angle of it is really cool to me because
Yeah.
it's not even necessarily time travel on his part. It's kind of like he just doesn't age.
Yeah.
So the same guy keeps showing up in these royal courts for hundreds of years and he always looks the same. And there's tons of anecdotal stories and he could have just been fucking with people
Yeah.
too. You know what I mean? Like maybe he just happened to age really well.
But that's pretty sophisticated for back then. you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. I mean, to basically troll people.
Yeah.
In the fucking 1700s, 1600s. I mean, it was like centuries that this guy kept showing up. And, there's also theories like, oh, it was different people that were, or it was the guy was a con where they found out about this count that had died and then they took the name and whatever. And who knows?
I
Right?
think that's actually, to me, it gets into some stuff that's probably considered pretty out there, but again, just being open, open to whatever. I think time travel, people probably think of time travel a lot because there are vampires.
Yeah.
So if, you know what I mean? Because like, look at all these photos of like, there's that old West Jimmy Fallon looking dude,
Yeah.
and it's like, then you start looking and there's like this match for every person in Hollywood from back then. It's like, oh, they've always just been fucking famous, or after 400 years, they figured out how to do it.
Yeah, they're in the club,
Yeah,
so to speak,
yeah.
and that's an interesting angle. I just saw a thing on X not that long ago that was one of those. It's like a storyboard post, and it was like that same thing where it's like current celebrity, and then right next to that, like former celebrity, and then even back beyond that, like former celebrity
Yeah.
from like 150 years ago. Going back to basically when like photographs became a thing in the 1800s. Very cool.
I wish I was good with names. Maybe we'll try to tag the individual. He's a creator. I see him on TikTok and X, but I don't know if you've seen this guy or not, but he takes like celebrities. Like, let's just say, for example, he takes Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And he'll put up a photo of Donald Trump and then one of like Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
And he's like, see, they have the same moles, and he like breaks
That's
it
so
down.
weird.
And he's really good at finding this stuff. And I don't know, maybe some of his listeners are doing it too. But the first time you see a video, you're like, this guy's fucking crazy.
Right.
But then you watch more videos and you're like, well, maybe he's just smarter than us.
Yeah.
Maybe he's seeing this for what it really is.
Right. And if like that whole theory, if that were true, if that were the case, like, oh, there's these celebrities have been the same souls for however long, they would count on you thinking that's crazy.
Absolutely.
I mean, they'd be like, oh, no sane person would believe that. But like, why are all these rich, famous celebrity people, why do they all have like altars in their house?
Yeah.
Why
I know.
do they, you know what I mean? And I don't even want to get into like what that could be, but you have to keep an open mind because these are supposedly people that are not spiritual, not usually religious,
Yeah.
very like fact grounded, like atheistic kind of people, and they all have like worship rooms
Yeah.
for
Right.
something that isn't like there's no crosses in there, there's no like Hindu symbolism, it's like something else.
Yeah, and like I think there's a lot of stuff about Hollywood that just doesn't line up for me. And this is a little off of time travel, but whatever, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of in that's our MO. But
We never stick to a topic
Yeah.
too long.
but think back to high school in your drama club.
Mhm.
Those people don't match the fucking people in Hollywood.
No, that's a
You know what I
great
mean?
point. Yeah,
Like the nicest people on earth
Yep.
in drama and all that stuff, and usually kind of quiet and shy. And then you get to these cutthroat fucking people in Hollywood.
Yeah, they're more
that-
like CEOs and shit. They're
Yeah,
brutal.
Right.
you know?
Yeah. And they're like, the type of people who were mentioned in Epstein files. Like,
Right.
those aren't the people that I knew in drama club. You know what I mean?
No, I mean, and you could make an argument. It's like, well, it is those people. They just have an ego now because they made it, or
Right.
whatever. But I don't buy that at all. Because even, I mean, and it does beg the question. So if that's the case, what does it mean when somebody new breaks in?
They
to the-
sell their soul to the devil. I
Yeah, is
think.
that what it is?
Yeah.
You know,
I
like-
think probably.
Or something.
Yeah,
the
I mean,
equivalent
whether
of
it's
that. Right?
whether it's the real devil or not, I do think, and again, this is just whatever it is. I do think that there's an aspect of control. Like, we're going to humiliate you, whether that is we're going to make you do some fucking raunchy stuff or you're going to do some weird, whatever. I
Yep.
do think there is. You look at like Diddy and all these people, it's a control mechanism.
Yeah.
It's to stay. And what's probably crazy is, people look at Diddy as like this person, this puppet master. He's probably on the first level.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are people controlling his ass too.
I
that
think
are
about
much,
him as like a handler.
Yeah.
Basically. Like if you want to do the comparison to like the intelligence apparatus, like he'd be the equivalent of like a handler.
Yeah, for sure.
Not super high up, but he's kind of running shit for his group of celebrities or whatever. But yeah, I don't know if you ever listen to Cat Williams.
Yeah,
And he's stand up. He does a good bit about this, and I don't really think it's a bit.
I
think
know.
he's being straight up.
Yeah. It
Talking
seems pretty authentic.
Yeah, I don't think he's lying intentionally. It's the truth as he believes it to be, anyway. And he talks about Kevin Hart in the one, and how like basically any male star that wants to make it in Hollywood has to do a cross-dressing scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I was like, no, that's like I've only seen a couple, and then he like there's a montage, like there's a video linked to his special, and it's like dozens and dozens and dozens of stars that all have cross-dressing scenes, and it's usually not in like a huge movie or whatever, but it's early on in their career, and they do a weird, doesn't even like fit the plot really, cross-dressing scene, and you're like, why? Like that's not even like a good bit for a movie,
I know. Again, to stay off track, and this is about Hollywood, but and this is like, forget my opinion on any of this stuff, but have you, like, because they say like, when you get to Hollywood and you sign this contract or whatever, to maintain that level, you have to have somebody killed or kill somebody.
Yep.
And so in that sense, have you seen the amount of celebrities who have transgender kids?
It was like all of them.
It's
ridiculous.
insane.
Or
it's
they have like 5.
Yeah. Hollywood makes up for the whole 1% of our population.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude. Like,
which just like mathematically it shouldn't be possible.
no, I think is it like Charlize Theron
has like 5.
She has like 3 fucking kids, and it's like,
yeah.
I think you just answered the question of nature versus nurture.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Right. You can't even like make an argument unless you're trying to like find trans kids, which I don't even want to get into that, but
Right.
like how do you know when they're like 3, right?
And that's why I think that's their murder. They're murdering the gender.
The innocence.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
But you're like, oh, I killed this boy and now it's a girl, vice versa, or whatever.
God, that's horrible.
Isn't it?
That's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's hard to think about, man. It's
ever since like probably for the last 18 months or so, I don't even watch television anymore because I look at these people and I think they're all disgusting. Like these are all really, it started when I went a little bit deeper in my faith, and I'm like, try to be a better person and try to do the right stuff. And it's like, I can't watch this stuff, man. These people are terrible human beings. All of them,
Right.
it seems like. There's very few people in Hollywood that are decent.
well, and the ones that try to be decent usually get kicked out or have to go underground. They have to fund their own movies.
Well,
They're out of the club. You know?
Yeah, that club will like manufacture scandals and make them look like the bad ones too.
Right. Well, it seems like all these people go down similar paths.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and doesn't make sense if not for there be some kind of overarching controlling force that pushes them down that path.
Right.
Like, it wouldn't be that you'd have hundreds or thousands over the last 50 years stars that all end up doing very similar tracks in life that go down this road, and it seems like so many of them do.
Yeah.
And there just has to be something running the show.
Yeah, and then you hear, and I don't personally know if there's any truth to any of this stuff at all, but you hear these people like Chris Cornell, Chester Bennington, and then you hear they committed suicide or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you hear some rumblings, and again, it's just internet rumblings, so it could be completely made up, but that they were working on like some exposing pedophilia type stuff.
Or like child slavery,
Yeah.
whatever. I've seen stuff like that. And you know, there's no. It's the thing. They're dead. There's no proof. They
Yeah.
can't speak for themselves. Like nobody knows if that's accurate or not. And I will acknowledge that that's like very fertile ground for people that are trying to shoehorn those things into to fit their narrative,
Yep.
right? But it makes you wonder,
Right.
why so many, particularly young male stars or like singers or whatever, end up dying in their late 20s, early 30s. Like,
Yeah.
is there I've maybe theorized that there's like a cutoff point where like if you don't get with the program
Your
by
time's up, buddy.
27, like,
Yeah.
you're out. Like, and maybe that's part of the deal. Maybe they
Mhm.
sign in. Maybe there's some kind of verbal or written agreement, and it's like, we'll get you famous, but you gotta, get with,
Produce. Yeah.
yeah, you have, until you're 27, you can do whatever you want, but after that, you gotta fall in line, and if you don't, bad things will happen to you and your family.
Yeah.
It's because the 27 club thing, that's another thing. I mean, totally off topic, but like, it is very odd that so many stars die at 27. And
Yeah. You should look it up. I don't have my phone. How many people in Hollywood, let's just say in the last 20 years, are part of that club? Because I mean, it's like I can think of a few off the tip of my head.
yeah, we were just talking about this at work the other day, and I brought up Shannon Hoon, and
Mhm.
he was actually 28. But
Damn it.
they're
No.
almost all in that same, like,
I-
27, 28, 29,
Shannon Hoon is probably one of my all-time favorite musicians.
Yeah, I love Blind Melon.
His voice is just unbelievable. And I get it. These people, there was a history of like probably heroin use and all that stuff, so it's not too far of a stretch that they overdosed or whatever the case may be. But the Kurt Cobain one is very suspicious to me too.
Yeah, I think that was probably her, but we'll never know. It's so funny. I plug it into like Google AI, right? And it's like, while the 27 Club is a famous cultural phenomenon, celebrities are actually not more likely to die at 27. And then it says, however, since 2000, dozens of notable individuals commonly associated with the 27 Club and died at that age are included. And there's Jonathan Brandis, Amy Winehouse, Anton Yelchin. There's tons of them.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a shit ton. And if you go back all the way to the 60s, 50s, 60s, there's even more. I
Yeah.
mean, there's the argument to be made there that, like, it's because, they're heavily into drugs and partying, and that's just the point where their body gives out, or they
Right.
make a dumb mistake or whatever. And that's probably part of it for some of them. But
Right.
it begs questions for sure.
Yeah, I mean, because like I was saying, it's why I don't know. Like I get it. Like drugs are, especially with like fentanyl, drugs are just a bad thing right now. But okay, so why that scene? Why
Right.
does the famous Hollywood rock star, excuse me, why is that scene like so overloaded with people having overdoses?
Yeah.
Well, why not bankers?
Or plumbers.
Yeah.
Or it's not like plumbers don't do drugs.
Right.
Like
And these people, I know a lot.
anybody.
Yeah, drugs are everywhere, man. Like Wall Street might be like the cocaine capital of the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How come they're not all overdosing? Or do we? The other thing is, do we just not hear about it because
Right.
they're not famous? you
Well,
know?
that's part of it too, right?
Yeah.
But you think about people from your hometown or your county where you grew up or whatever, and you don't hear about a lot of people dying in their 20s unless it's a car accident,
right?
like that.
Or like childhood cancer or something.
Yeah,
you know?
something
It's-
like weird, niche and horrible that doesn't happen to very many people. It's not like died of alcohol poisoning.
Yeah.
Or like it just doesn't happen that often.
It's like the same thing to me. Again, to completely stay off of time travel, is that Black Eye Club.
I'm not familiar. Are you talking about like the kids with black eyes thing? Or-
Everybody in Hollywood. Like,
is this where they like have pictures of them where they look like their eyes are black?
they have like one black eye. So I can't remember the theory, but it's something about like, I think that the conspiracy is like it's your entrance into the Illuminati.
Mm.
And if you, I mean, dude, I'm not joking, because they like, the cover of the one eye.
Yeah. I've seen
So if
symbolism.
you look at it, like, I've seen one person in the last 20 years with a black eye, and that was you
Yeah.
recently.
Yeah. What did I do?
You hit your head on your truck.
Oh, I was working on the Jeep.
Yeah,
Actually,
yeah.
I was working on a Jeep,
Jeep.
and I hit it on my fucking frame rail.
But I don't see black eye. And then all of a sudden,
Very rarely.
yeah, look it up at some point. These people in Hollywood, Well, like for example, Elon Musk, and
Yep.
you know, he was at the White House. I think he got into like an actual fisticuffs with
Yeah.
Scott Bessent, maybe.
Yeah, Scott Bassett. That sounds
Yeah.
right.
But yeah, you'll see in Hollywood all these fucking people. They
Mhm.
have like the same black guy. Now, I did hear one thing that's crazy, but it's about the reptilians.
Okay.
And they enter your eye to take over your body. Like,
Dude,
yeah,
that's
and that's what
creepy.
creates the black eye.
That's fucked up.
Yeah,
I don't even want to think about that.
I know, it's horrifying.
That, I mean, it's like the Matrix, right? The thing going into your belly button.
Ew.
Like, ugh,
I
fuck
know.
that. But
Ugh, gross.
maybe the reptilians have mastered time travel, and that's how they go back and they take over people that are gonna become important in the future.
Yeah,
No, I guess linking back to time travel, it really does beg a lot of questions about, because like if you focus on the physics side of it, you're really not going to get anywhere.
no.
Because you almost have to be mystical about time travel because there's so many unknown unknowns.
Yeah,
But you look at something that has been interesting to me that's scientific is the wormhole thing.
yeah.
And I don't know, have you seen, there's a really good video that has been floating around on YouTube and all the socials and stuff that tries to explain what space-time is, because normal people don't understand what space-time is. Space and time are actually not separate. They're the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
So like think about space-time as a fabric, like a net. Or a trampoline is another good
Yeah,
measure for it. And it's just different axes essentially of the same thing. And when if you put a cup on one side of the net, it'll go down a little bit, right? So you're bending space-time. It's minutely, barely measurable, right, in the grand scheme of things, but you're bending space-time a little bit. Or if you have something like a black hole, well, that's going to be way more of an impact
yeah.
on the
Like
fabric
a
of
lot
space-time.
denser. Yeah,
Right. So then essentially the wormhole theory is that you have something that's so much like concentrated energy, mass, whatever. They're usually linked to black holes because that's the only thing in the universe we know that would have enough energy to do it. And that because it warps space-time so much, it brings different ends closer together.
yeah,
And theoretically, you could travel through that if you could figure out a way to and not die.
yeah.
And come out the other side and basically instantaneously travel to another spot in space.
Like 400 light years or something.
Yeah. And that's what the other thing, that goes along with that. People don't think about this enough, but like, say there was an alien planet, like, let's just say 1,000 light years away, which is very, very far, right? Well, if you were on that planet and they somehow just decided they wanted to look at Earth, right? And they, pointed their telescope at Earth, what they would see would be the light that left our planet, that reflected off our planet 1,000 years ago.
Right.
So if they could zoom in, what they would see would be, 1026 AD.
Right.
Like it, so they wouldn't even know. And that's what, if we find a planet like that, like whatever we see there, that civilization, if we find one, could be gone. Like we just don't know. So in a way, almost in itself, just because of the constraints of the speed of light, like you're time traveling just looking at that.
See, that's where I think things get when you like, for me, this is just how I feel, and most of it's because I don't understand this stuff. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
like, so then my imagination goes wild, and I think that's the problem. Is people in America, especially, you're basically taught from a very young age to stop using your imagination.
Mm-hmm.
This is, you follow these rules, X, Y, Z. You learn this, and you learn math, and you whatever.
Yeah.
But your imagination, people stifle it.
Yes.
And so, fortunately, I'm like a childish person, and I still have an imagination, I think. But if you look at it that way, which they say is scientifically correct, right? You're this 1,000 light years.
Yep.
What proof is there that that's even accurate? Like that.
But we don't know.
Exactly. It's all. So that's why it's like, people praying to the science gods. It's all still on, most of it's on theories, and just
Right.
it's waiting to be proven wrong, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's right because right now we think it is.
Yeah, the math works when
Right.
they run the equations or whatever, and there's been maybe limited testing on a smaller scale that they can do with like quarks and atoms or whatever, but like it's not like we know for sure
Right.
that's accurate. That's just
No.
a theory.
No, I know. And that's why I think that other stuff could be right also. It's just right now it seems less right, but you got to be kind of open to it because who knows?
Well, have you seen? So I forget the. I'm gonna look. Quantum. Yeah. So the name of this phenomenon is called quantum entanglement. Are you familiar with this?
Very much so,
So
yeah.
this is relates to
There's
time travel
tests
a
that
lot.
prove this one.
Yeah, this one. That's why I brought it up.
Oh.
Is this one has been essentially proven to the best of our ability. Is that if you take atoms or particles or whatever from you put them 2 million light years away, right? That were at one point together, and you spin one of them, the other one will spin instantaneously at the exact same time, no matter where it is in the universe.
Yeah.
In my mind, that completely blows up everything.
I know. I agree.
Like, I don't understand how we have so much ego, and I'm no scientist, right? But if that exists provably, and it does, we clearly have something wrong.
Oh, I know.
About the rest of it.
I agree. And I think there's a test, and they are measuring particles, and they have like a piece of paper with one hole in it.
Yes.
That you're talking about?
Yeah.
And they shoot it, and it's got a pattern. And then, so if they put like 2 holes in it, there's an idea of what should happen, and it does not happen the same way.
Yeah.
It's completely random.
That goes into the I think that's a slightly different topic on the same thing, but that's like the observer effect.
Yeah. That's, yeah.
So like you can think that, for example, there's like the, is something is it a wave, or is it the state of it will change only when somebody starts observing it.
Isn't that crazy?
Like, that doesn't make sense.
I know.
Something in my human brain, if something's a wave, it should be a wave.
Yeah.
Right. Like, that's what it is. And that between that and the quantum entanglement thing, just completely proves to me that we are missing the boat on something. Like,
The quantum entanglement, I think, for me, I think what resonates with me anyways is that, yep, I'm here talking to Gabe on this podcast, but also I have like a soul or a spirit or something right now somewhere else, and it's all at the same time.
I'm trying to look up the name of that effect, but yeah, no, I agree. With the observer effect, right? Like we were just talking about, does that apply to things like souls or like people?
Right.
Like, I mean, not to get too crazy, but like, do you only exist in like my version of you? Does that only exist because we're here talking to each other right now and I'm participating in this? And then, because we only ever truly know ourselves.
Right.
That we exist, right? Because we experience the world through ourselves all the time. Excuse me. But when you bring other people into the mix, there's no way for me to ever know that you're not just a figment of my imagination.
Well, I mean, you think about this getting crazy, but that's cool. I like crazy. I feel like I know who I am, right? Like, like if I were going to die today, I have an idea of what people would have a memory of me of, but instead of that one thing, it's going to be thousands of different memories, because what I am to you is different than what I am to the neighbor,
right?
Or whatever.
Yes.
And so that's their reality. So yeah, that really opens up a whole box of unknowns, I think.
Yeah, reality is like depends on your perspective.
Yeah,
I think, and like there is supposedly an indisputable truth, right? About facts, history, whatever. But like, if you ask somebody that was a part of that fact when it happened, if they agree with that, a lot of times they don't. A lot of times it happened differently.
Yeah.
Or from their perspective, it didn't go down like that. That's like, history is always written by the victor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you talk about even the Civil War, right? You ask somebody from Alabama why the South fought for independence is going to get a lot different answer than somebody from New York.
Yeah, for
You know?
sure.
And it's just different perspectives because there is no hard truth. All of these situations have multiple states, like multiple states of being at the same time to different people that are experiencing it differently.
Have you? I think another good example of, this kind of came across my brain after you were talking about the quantum entanglement.
Yeah.
And I think when you have like identical twins,
Yes.
and like they share like thoughts,
Right.
you know what I mean, or like
that there's something to that. Yeah.
I think so. Like, and then like there is. I've just heard stories about like identical twins, and then they move across the country. One gets into a car accident. The other one dreams of it, wakes up, is like in pain and all this stuff. I mean, that has to be some type of like quantum entanglement or something,
Well, is that a base function of our universe where certain particles, even in the womb, like humans, like if you get magnetically or frequency tied to something else, if that now that you always have that, like you cannot get rid of that entanglement. I've always wondered whether that extends beyond just a particle, or whatever, because it does seem that way.
I remember I was having a conversation with my wife, and she was telling me she was reading a book or something like that, but basically I think this goes along with like the whole sins of the father thing. But so say something happened to your mom while you were in the womb.
Yeah.
How far generationally that affects, because cells that were in your body have your son's cells in them already. And so that traumatic thing like has this long lasting effect. That's crazy. That's that. I don't know if that's the observer thing or entanglement, but
it's probably a little bit of both, I guess. And then because the observer effect portion of that would be so say something happens to your mom in the womb, right? And maybe that changes slightly the chemistry of the cells that she passes on to you, but you don't know about it until you're like 25.
Yeah.
And then you find out at 25 that, your
you
mom...
become an alcoholic.
Yeah. You're like, yeah. I mean, something along those lines, like, your mom had, kidney disease, some rare kidney disease or whatever. And then a week after you find out about it, you now have the rare kidney disease. Like, is it a latent thing that is just sitting there waiting, and then if you notice it, then it activates? Or is it something...
I don't know.
Like,
but
that's the weird thing.
Something you just said, I mean, like, triggered something in my brain. But, like, if a lot of things are hereditary, like heart disease, well, then why wouldn't emotions or trauma also be like get passed out? So it makes sense, actually, to me.
Absolutely. I don't even know what science says exactly on that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I think that it goes back to nature versus nurture too. Like, if somebody who's an angry person and is your father and then raises you, you're definitely more predisposed to be an angry person. But is that because of the cells they gave you, or is that because you had an asshole raising you that yelled all the time,
right,
and then made you an asshole? So
depends on how big of a victim you are and what answer you give.
Yeah, because then you have those people that are, they're in foster care, they go through 10 different homes or whatever, and they end up being super successful, measured, good people, right? And then there's a good chunk of those people in that situation that end up destitute.
Right.
So it's almost impossible, I think, and that's why that's been, psychology's biggest question for decades is, how do we think about psychology? Because psychology, a lot of people think of it as a monolith, like, this is like psychology is its own science, whatever. It's not really how it is. Like, coming from like what I studied in college too, psychology and sociology, there's like competing camps, and you basically pick one. If you're gonna go get a master's degree or a doctorate, you're gonna pick, biological, you're gonna pick behavioral, there's tons of different roads you can go down, and they all have kind of their own little thing. And then you have guys like Carl Jung, who like was an esoteric mysticist, and he was a genius, beyond belief genius, but like he was basically a Gnostic. Like, he believed a lot of the stuff that, like, one of my favorite podcasts, Third Eye Drops, he's like a lot more along the lines of something like that. And he was ostracized for that belief. But like it's people think science in general is a monolith, and it isn't. There's so many competing narratives and competing ideas in every field. Climate change, for example, like there's scientists that say, oh, it's a natural warming. There's scientists that say, no, it's definitely CO2. There's scientists that are like, no, it's actually the methane. And
Yeah.
it could all be true. None of it could be true, but I don't want people to hear an opinion from one scientist or one study, and then that has to be fact
Right.
for them. It's just not a good way to think about the world.
I agree.
I'm not saying discount it entirely, but you have to think critically to a certain extent and say, oh, well, okay, that might prove something, but I need to hear the other perspectives first.
Yeah. Before we do end, I wanted to ask you another question.
Yeah.
And it's about time travel, believe it or not. Have you seen the whole theory? I think it's a book called The Adventures of Baron Trump.
Yes.
Dude.
Yeah, I was going to bring this up earlier, and I forgot.
That is some crazy stuff. Like,
yeah, it was written like a long time ago.
I mean, it's either the very early 1900s or the 1800s. I mean,
thought
it's
it was a late
forever
1800s.
ago.
I'm going to look it up because I remember when I saw this all came out a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
That this was a thing, and it's not a popular book. Like, it's not something that most people are going to know about.
Right.
Let me look. It blows my mind because, like, what are the
Well,
odds?
and he was like it wasn't a president, but he was like the king's son, and he was a time traveler, and I don't know, it was crazy.
The series includes Baron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, written in 1893.
Yeah, it's old.
And the final book was written in 1900. It's called The Last President. Like, fuck, dude. That's great.
Crazy stuff.
What are the odds that the name would be the same? And so many of the weird little details are the same, too. Like,
The only other Baron I know is a Red Baron.
the pizza guy.
The pizza guy.
I love their pizza. It's so good. No, the time travel thing, it's like we said before. It's really hard to, like, pick a thing and be like, because it's just like psychology. You're just picking a camp, man.
Yeah.
None of us know, and you just think like, well, I guess this makes the most sense to me, even though there's no proof for it.
Right.
So I'm going to say I believe this, and I'm going to argue to the death that this is the right one. I still think, and we didn't even talk about it a lot, but my opinion, it's like a parallel worlds thing.
Yeah.
And we're all floating along, and like, I also think that when you see ghosts or spirits, whatever, those might be just regular people on a slightly different frequency, different time scale.
We must be really close to that 1800s woman in a white dress frequency.
It's always the 1800s girl in the white dress every time.
If you were, whatever, somebody came up to you and was like, hey, I got a secret, buddy. And they're like, I have a time machine. It's legitimate. You can go one place. You could spend as long as you want there, but you can come back and you're never using it again. Mm-hmm. I guess the first part would be, would you go to the past or the future?
It's a great question. Honestly, I would probably go to the future.
Yeah.
And I would just want to see, I probably wouldn't even go that far in the future. Say like 100 years, 50 years. And I just want to see if...
Would it be on Earth?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would just want to see if we're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, to be very honest. Go 50 years in the future and see if there's still like civilization.
You have to look at your age and be like, okay, I can retire at 65.
Yes.
Do I need to worry about shit?
Yeah. Well, I'm good.
Yeah.
Got a solid job, got a nice house, whatever. I just want to make sure I still have like municipal water in
that's the problem,
2070,
No, I mean, I think that'd be a lot of people's answer. But if you did that and you realized the outlook was bleak, it will affect how you behave when you come back poorly.
Right. Or
Maybe.
Or it could,
live like you're dying type of thing.
That, or it could be the thing that inspires the person who does that to change the world.
Shout it from the mountaintops.
Do everything you can, right? And maybe that changes the future.
Yeah.
Because the future, time travel wise, is a lot easier to, fuck with in the past.
Right.
So, and that's one of the arguments for time travel, where you have people supposedly coming back from the future to have you seen the thing where all these like scientists are dying?
Mm-hmm. It's like a dozen right now, I think.
Yeah, it was a lot. And one of the theories that people are throwing out there is that it is people from the future coming back and killing them because they were working on technology that like doomed humanity.
It's just bonkers, man.
Yeah.
That type of stuff is so interesting to me. But then it's hard to give a lot of energy to because, I don't know, you can get obsessive with it, and there's so much stuff going on in the world right now.
Yeah.
You can't focus on all of it. You'll burn yourself out.
It's very important not to go too far down.
Yeah.
I tell people that when I talk to people in my personal life that are interested in this stuff, like we are. And I think that's why our podcast kind of takes the angle that we do. We don't get too deep on anything because that's how I think.
Well, there's just so many unknowns. It's not like none of this shit would be worth taking a hard line stance on, like you can't travel because we only have 12 D cell batteries. Like we don't
Right.
know what you need.
Right.
There are probably elements that haven't been discovered and blah, blah, blah. I mean, yeah. So it's not worth taking some hard stance on. It's just the curiosity. I'm very curious about all this stuff.
Like I've seen it happen to so many people in my personal life and like people that are big podcasters or whatever. A lot of them start off like how you and I started off, where they're very open-minded. They cover a bunch of different topics. And then over time, whether it's like because the money's better when you pick your niche or because they hyperfixate on something, eventually every single episode is the same niche topic, and it's so like hyper minute.
And then they start having these little podcast wars with people who disagree with them.
Yeah, or just silly arguments on people that are on the different side of the coin, but it, in my opinion, it like ruins the podcast.
100%.
Because it's like I am super interested in time travel, right? I don't want to only hear about that because there's so much going on, and I really think it's such an easy trap to fall down. And I think you can make the argument that a lot of like the psyops that we know are going on, digital psyops from the CIA, the FBI, whatever, or private actors. That's what they want.
Yeah.
They want there to exist these hyper specialized niches, and they want people to fall down them. So we're so fragmented.
Dude, absolutely. It's the same as Democrat versus Republican.
Yes.
It's the same. It's all the same thing. It's a form of control. That's it.
Yeah.
I mean, down to its simplest form is it's a form of control.
Right.
And it's stupid. Like that's like, yeah, time travel is really cool, like the idea of it. But the reality, or the most likely reality, is I'll never learn about it in my lifetime.
Right.
So why would I want to get so committed to anything really about it? I'm interested. I think it's cool. I want to hear what people think about it.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to argue with somebody because their opinion is different from mine because there's no facts.
Yeah. Or on something that I just objectively don't know either. Like you're arguing a point for something that's just your opinion and you're trying to prove it. And you can't.
It's kind of like what me and some old coworkers used to call the lottery game. It is, I worked a really job that was just really not fun. It was pretty bad.
Yeah.
And so any chance we got, like when we were together, like say you're on lunch or whatever, we'd be like, let's play the lottery game. And we would just talk about what you do if you win a lottery.
Yeah.
And it's really just escapism, it's just trying to like get yourself away from that.
Yeah. What like shitty manual labor job has not done that?
Right.
Like,
right.
Everybody does that.
That just was the topic that always came up. But
yeah.
I mean, that's what all this stuff is for me, is just a way to entertain lots of ideas and have fun with it,
Yeah. And I think that's why our focus and like what this podcast is and has become, it's not going to be for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that we really focus on not getting too in depth and we keep an open mind about a lot of different topics, I think that's like the kind of community that we want to build, is like people that are just generally open-minded and interested and non-judgmental about other people's ideas. Just want people to feel like they're able to, explore different ideas and talk amongst themselves without, judgment from somebody who is just super worked up about their specific opinion and nobody else can be right. I don't like that.
No. I don't, no interest in like, keeping it in the echo chamber at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And that took a long time to work out of.
Yeah.
People are, because that's the way our society works, is they file you into that.
Yeah.
And then whether it's Facebook or whatever, they track every single opinion you have on there. Like, I don't know if anybody's ever looked into that. You can download your like profile on
Yeah,
Facebook that
it's
tells
crazy.
like your ad profile. It is super accurate. It's crazy.
Yeah.
And then they just feed you that shit. They just load up the slop trough with whatever you're already into, funnel you down that path, and then you're fucking Alice in Wonderland down the rabbit hole.
Just today, I was looking up a part for my drill press.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did like one search for a part.
Yep.
It was like it didn't even have to do with a drill press. It was a laser
Yeah.
for a drill press.
Right.
But that's every ad on every platform now, and it's
Mhm.
like, well, fuck,
Yeah.
That's just people trying to pump. Like, oh, he'll buy one, which
Right.
works, but
Yeah.
it does.
But
It's effective.
not just ads. That's the thing.
Yeah,
The
I know.
ads are the least scary part of that.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, highly targeted ads, you can make a lot of money or whatever. It's the political shit and the religious shit and the other stuff that really freaks me out. Because, like, if they've got you pegged that good on the products you buy, they have you pegged that good on everything.
oh yeah, for sure.
So if they know you have a proclivity to believe in whatever, you're a libertarian or
Mhm.
whatever, and they want you to stay that way, they want us to be fragmented, they just shovel you with stuff that they know you're going to eat up.
Yeah,
And they won't show you stuff that goes against that opinion. So you never truly have an unbiased, media stream coming at you. So of course, if all you're seeing is stuff that supports your viewpoint that you already have, you're not going to change your mind.
So do you think, I don't know if I'll be able to get this out making sense, but okay, so like Facebook has an algorithm.
Yeah.
X has an algorithm. Do you think there's an overarching algorithm that monitors algorithms?
That's a good question. I think that's what Palantir's trying to
That's
do.
that's where I was kind of going with, is that's kind of like, from what I've heard, and I haven't heard a lot, but that's kind of like the Palantir thing.
Yeah. It's trying to be like the police officer of the algorithm.
Like the big brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to run everything, and like eventually, this is terrifying. If it hasn't happened already, they're going to be interconnected.
Ugh.
And there will be no way out of it.
Yeah.
You will be tracked. We will know exactly what you're like. Like we're going to do an episode on this eventually, but
Yeah.
the 6G thing too.
Mhm. I just started reading about that. Some more
Yeah.
stuff. It's
How
creepy.
like your body is an antenna thing.
Well, what I had heard is like it's not actually 6G, it's like 8G actually,
Yeah.
and they're mislabeling it on purpose.
Yeah. It's freaky stuff, man. So
Yeah.
like it will be able, it's not just for internet data transfer. It will be able to track you. The millimeter wave, it's the way that it is, and granted, it's got some downsides, right? You need a ton of towers, but it can track you wherever you are in your house through your walls.
So I think what I had recently, and again, it's not like this is going to ruin the episode because we won't be on track anyways when we do it, but I think like what I read about this whole 6 versus 8G whatever is that's the real reason for all the data centers.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah.
I absolutely believe it. I really think all this stuff is just they're building the infrastructure of control.
Yeah.
And I don't, in this country, I don't think that's going to look apocalyptic. I think what it is it's going to be more like, the fuck is that movie? Where, it was a 90s movie where they arrest people before they commit the crime.
Oh, Minority Report?
Minority Report, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it's going to be like. I think it's
You
going
got
to be
three women laying in a bathtub.
Right. So as long as you're doing what the state wants you to do, I think life's going to be very similar to what it is now. But the fact that the state can decide exactly what you can do, that's the scary part.
Dude, man, that's like gotta be like the most terrifying thing to have, like thought police. You know what I mean? Like
They're trying. I mean, look at countries like the UK, where if you have the wrong political opinion on Facebook, they will arrest you.
I know,
and put you
dude.
in jail.
That UK is so fucking backwards right now. But but the people who are like supporting it, they're doing. It's funny because I wonder. Well, I know, but like people from outside of our country, they look and they can see through all of our shit,
Yeah, and just the same way that we can see
and we can
theirs.
see through all their shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they don't think it's. Some of them don't think that that's true. They're like, no. But then you're like, well, look at these news stories that they're probably not being shown,
Right.
but they're showing us. Yeah.
And that's the thing, is like the current control mechanism is at the national level.
Yeah.
they're trying to make it the global level. That's what people don't understand is like, this isn't necessarily about one world government per se. They're going to leave the figureheads in place in all these countries. So you're going to be like, oh no, like our government still has a president and you have a king or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's not who's controlling you.
But you all have one bank, asshole.
Yeah. Everybody's got one bank. We're all on Facebook. We all buy shit on Amazon or whatever, you know, most people in the Western world.
Yeah.
So that's how they're going to do it. And they're going to do it in such a way that you don't think it's being done to you, but it will be. And we're already very far down that path.
Yeah, I think so too. I think, you know, from our listeners, or our listener, I don't know how many people watch this, but yeah, I'd like to hear from people, whether it's in comments or a message to. You have an email up, don't you, or something?
I do. Yep. Yeah.
I'd love to hear what people want us to talk about or look into. I mean, because if there's something that's, you know, like the right topic to discuss for what's going on in our country right now, I'd love to dive into that deep. You know.
I also agree. I love doing the episodes where we get ideas from other people.
Yeah.
Because I'll talk about anything.
Right.
I like all this shit. But it means a lot more to us when we know somebody wants to hear it.
Yeah.
And we try to stay more on task when we get a listener request. But no, we're looking forward to getting back at it like once or twice a week here. And it would really be helpful. This isn't for money at all. But if you guys want our message to get out and our podcast to be seen by more people, it's super helpful if you like, comment, subscribe, do all that stuff. I'm never going to ask for your money. I don't want your money. We just do this for fun.
Yeah.
But like, we definitely want to build a fun community, and we're doing a good job at that so far, but we need your help too, because we're slaves to the algorithm.
Yeah.
If people don't like the podcast, it don't show up. And right now we get a good amount of views between all the places we're on, but it's all people that are just randomly finding it from keywords.
Yeah, right. I had heard, I know you were probably getting ready to wrap here, but I had heard recently, I don't remember who it was from. It was actually like a Mr. Beast thing, and him and some other assholes got on this call, and they're obsessive, right? That's why their stuff's successful,
right?
But like the chiclet, is
is
like the most important thing,
yeah,
on advertising. Like picking the right, what's that called? Tile?
Yeah, I can't remember the exact word. I know what you're talking about.
I didn't realize how big of a deal that made. That's crazy. Because I remember you're like, oh yeah, I'm coming up with a new. I don't know what it's called, but
thumbnail.
Thumbnail, yeah. But like that's super important.
It is.
Yeah.
Well, that's why Mr. Beast, like every thumbnail he has is him doing that weird smile.
Yeah.
Because they focus grouped it, and they found that was the picture that got the most clicks.
That's crazy.
We will never do that. Just to be clear, that is not us. But I try to make it look cool or whatever, just because I want people to listen to the content.
Right.
And if there's like a cool picture there, people generally will tend to think that you put some time into it or whatever.
If you don't, exactly. If you don't pick a cool one, it's going to end up being a random still from us, and we're like, and we, it looks like we did it on a camcorder.
We do it on a fucking iPhone. But
iPhone 17, buddy.
Pro Max, dude.
Yeah.
But no, basically just want to say we appreciate all you guys, and we're going to try to get back into the swing of doing these more often, once or twice a week again. But other than that, appreciate all you guys, and that's all I got. What about you?
No, take care, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Thanks.
A band of shadows is a heavy weight to bear when the truth is